Good afternoon, everyone. I'll let anybody else who's coming in late in as we go along. Good afternoon and welcome to our fourth in a series of social media webinars. This one's on YouTube. This is one of our 17 sessions or workshops that we are putting on this week with in conjunction with the Small Business Center, Tourism Oxford, some area chambers, and Rural Economic Development. And it should be a good one. I'm really interested in learning more about YouTube. The Chamber has a YouTube channel. I know the bare bones, so I'm looking to hear a little bit more because I got to put that there. Okay, I hope that works. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Camilo Glavis from the Small Business Center. He's going to teach you a little bit more about the world of YouTube.
Okay, thank you so much for that introduction. Good afternoon to everyone. My name is Camilo, as Kim was saying, and I work here in the Small Business Center in the Digital Main Street Initiative to help small businesses develop better social media strategies. And today we're going to be talking about what you need to open a YouTube channel and, some tips along the way that will help you to create more interesting content and take the most out of this tool. So this presentation is going to be divided into 3 different sections. The first one is really about just how to log into YouTube. The second one is what you need to do to create a YouTube channel. And the third section is about uploading videos to YouTube. So let's get started. The first thing that you will need to do to log into YouTube is to go to YouTube and click in the sign in button. When you do that, you will be prompted to enter your account, or if you don't have any account yet, you can create a new one. Now, I would recommend you to use your business account because all the communications between your YouTube channel and your business will happen through this account. Also, if you are a company that already uses the Google services for their email system, it's going to make everything a lot easier because the communications between your channel are going to be all synchronized in the same space. Plus, it's going to give a more professional look to your brand in general. Once you're in there, you will be taken to the homepage of YouTube, and you will need to stay there to go along with the next section. So to open a YouTube channel, the first thing that you need to go is to go into your account. So that's the little icon that you will find in the top right corner of the website. And you will see a drop-down menu. In this menu, there's going to be an option that tells you to create a channel. And that's what you're going to click. So in there, you will have 2 options. You can either take the name for your channel from the Google account that you use to register into YouTube, or you can use a custom name. You will probably want to use a custom name because sometimes we are not able to choose the name we would like to in our Gmail account, sorry. So you will probably use the custom name. Now, when you are doing a name for your YouTube channel, you need to keep into account 3 key elements. The first one is that your name should be related to your content. So, if you're talking about cars, you're not going to have a name related to motorcycles because it doesn't really give people a sense of what you're doing. The second thing is that you need to keep your name relevant to your brand, or if it is possible to you, you should use the brand name because that's going to give more consistency. And finally, if you can use the same name in all of your social media accounts. So if you already have an Instagram account, if you are already into YouTube, if you have a website, try to use the same name for your company because that will make it a lot easier for people to find the content that you produce. And your brand is going to have a much more stronger meaning and behind of it. Now, you will need to upload a profile picture. This picture, as you can see in the presentation, should be 800 pixels by 800 pixels, and preferably in a PNG format. This is really important because this is the picture that people will see whenever they look for your channel. So you want to use something like your logo or an image that is really representative of your brand. Remember that all of these pictures are about branding and making the message of your company stronger. Now, you want to write a description as well for your content. So this is not describing videos specifically, this is describing what your channel and your company does in general. And there are a couple tips that I will give you when doing that. And the first one is that you want to use a lot of keywords when you're writing your description. So what is a keyword? A keyword is really specific words that Google uses to find your content. So for example, once again, going back to the examples about cars. So if you have a YouTube channel about cars, of course, car is gonna be a keyword because most people will find your content using that word. And the importance of keywords is that it helps you to become better positioned. So when people use those keywords, if there's plenty of them in your description and in all of your videos, the YouTube algorithm will give the results back and will position you in the top results, which is something you want because that's gonna help people to find you faster. And to be honest with you, people usually don't really search a lot, so they just go with the top 5 results they see. Also, when you're doing your description, you want to describe your product or your service and your company in terms of what you do and also in terms of how a client will describe you. You don't want to use really specific words or really technical language unless that's something that your client would look for. You know, if you're doing something about biology, of course, you're going to use scientific terms. But then it changes if you are doing a YouTube channel explaining biology to high school students. Your YouTube language has to be way more simple. So you have to keep that in mind. And you want to place the key, you know, the gist of all of your description at the very beginning of the paragraph, because YouTube will only show the beginning of the paragraph. They crop it after a couple words, so you want people to be able to read the most important information without really having to go into your channel description. Then you will need to link your other social media sites. And this is really important because when you're doing an online strategy, you want all of your accounts to get linked together. That's gonna make a more interesting experience. That's gonna move the people that, for example, find about you on Instagram. They will learn through Instagram that you also have a YouTube channel. So if you have your accounts together, that's gonna help you to reach better discovery rates, and people will be able to find you a lot easier and enjoy your content more because each platform allows for different kinds of content. Now, it's also important that you don't forget, to put your YouTube link in your other social media channels, because that's something that is not going to happen automatically. You need to do it yourself. So don't forget about that, because really that's important. Now you will click in Save and Continue. And after that, you will be taken to your main home screen, the home screen of your channel. And from there, next to your YouTube channel name, you will see a blue button that says Customize Channel. So you want to click in there, and that is going to take you to a section where you will be able to upload content related just to your brand. Now, before I can explain further this section, I want you to know that a banner is an image that goes in the background of your channel. So as you can see in this example from the app Spotify, Their banner is the section that says listening is everything in the green and blue colors. Now, why do you want to use a banner? First of all, it gives a more aesthetic look to your channel. It gives the appearance that you are actually putting work into it, which is something you want to do because otherwise people are not really gonna trust your content. Then it also helps you to reinforce your brand. So as in the case of Spotify, what they're doing is they're using their business tagline as their banner, and that helps to keep a more consistent brand presence. Now, when you're designing it, you want to use a clean design that complements your brand. So for example, if your brand uses the colors red, white, then you want to use your banner with the colors red and white. You don't want to do really weird color combinations because usually that doesn't work. And avoid using more than 3 different colors. This is more of a design principle. So if you use more than 3 different colors, that's gonna create a really saturated image that is not gonna be pleasing to the eye. So you want to avoid to do that. Now, so in order for you to upload a banner, you will need to go to a section that is called branding. It's a really tiny button. And from there, you will be able to upload your profile picture, your banner image, and several other things. So as you can see in the presentation, you have a section that explains what is a banner image and the technical recommendations that YouTube gives you to reach the best results. So you want to read that, you want to make sure your image follows those principles, and then you will click in upload. Once you're doing that, you need to remember to click on the publish button. If you don't do that, you are gonna lose all the things that you have done until this moment, and that would have been a waste of time. So probably you don't want that happening. The next step is to go to basic info. And in there, you are gonna be able to provide your YouTube viewers with an email address where they can contact you. So again, you can use the same email address as you use for logging in into the YouTube services. Or if you prefer to be reached at a specific email address, you can use that one in here. That's completely up to you. Just keep in mind that everyone will be able to see this email address. So you want to be sure that it's a professional looking address plus an address that is not private. So once again, you need to click in the publish button, and this will save all the things that you've done so far. And once you're done with that, you can close the tab that it says channel customization. And once again, you are gonna be taken to your homepage. You want to stay there for our next section. So finally, we're going to upload a video, which is really what it's gonna make or break your YouTube channel. Before I can tell you how to do that, I want you to keep a couple key terms in mind. So as you can see in this presentation, your YouTube video is gonna be divided in 4 different sections. The first one is the thumbnail, which refers to the picture. This other one is the channel name. That's gonna be under the title, and it's important because it gives branding once again. Then the video title, which of course is the top section, and then the video description. Also, I want you to notice how the video description, I want you to notice that the video description is cut. So you can see at the end, it has a couple dots. That means that you're not gonna be able to read more than that unless you go into the video. So that's why it's important to keep the most important information at the beginning of the description. All right, so in order for you to upload your first video, you want to go to this little camera icon that you are gonna find in the top right section of the website. Once you have clicked in there, you are gonna be taken to a drop-down menu that will give you the option to either upload a video or start a live streaming. You want to choose the first option, and then you're gonna be prompted to upload your video. So you are gonna choose your file. Just remember that you need to have a supported file. The most commonly used file is MP4. So just keeping that in mind. And when you are uploading any other file, that's precisely what's gonna happen in here. So you go look for your video and just click in the open button down there. Now, once you do that and your video has uploaded, you're gonna be taken to the details of the video. So here you are gonna be able to choose a title, a description, and add some other information. For the title section, you want to keep in mind that by default, YouTube is gonna choose the same title the file had. So for example, as you can see, the title was called Wildlife, the video, sorry, was called Wildlife, and YouTube automatically decided that the title for this video was gonna be Wildlife. So just to make things simpler and avoid mistakes, just try to keep all of your videos with relevant names from the beginning. That way you don't need to worry about changing it later. But of course, if you want, you can always change the title from here. Now, in this same section, you're able to upload the description. So the same principles apply as the ones that I told you for the channel description. You want to use a lot of keywords. So let's say your video is about chemistry for grade 9. What you're gonna do is, of course, you want to use chemistry a lot of times in the description. You want to explain the topic of the video, and you want to specify that it's for grade 9 students. That way, YouTube is gonna know what is your video about, and it's gonna classify it better. Now, having a title is really important, and having a good title, it's what's gonna make people either click on your videos or just skip them. So you want to use about 2 or 3 keywords, just for the same thing I've said several times, for YouTube to be able to classify it better. And you want to keep it short, otherwise it's gonna get cropped. So try to be as specific as you can in the least amount of words, and always trying to be really interesting. So you want your clients or your viewers to see the title and prompt them to click into your video. But when you're doing that, avoid doing something that is called clickbaiting. So clickbaiting is selecting a title that, yes, looks really attractive to whoever is reading it, but that does not really represent what's going to happen in that video. And that's going to give you a really, really bad reputation if you use this technique a lot of times, because people are no longer interested in the content you do because they feel sort of like they have been scammed. So you want to avoid that practice. Now, when you are doing a description, you can also use hashtags in YouTube. Hashtags are really useful because that's going to allow people to find videos based on their interest. So for example, you uploaded a video about Canada Day, and then you use the hashtag Canada Day in your description. Everyone that is following that topic and that is interested in Canada Day is going to be notified that you uploaded a video about Canada Day. So you want to use hashtags. Don't use way too many, because if you use more than 15 hashtags, YouTube is just gonna think that you're trying to use a bunch of hashtags without really representing your video, and that's gonna be penalized. So you want to avoid that. Now, the thumbnail is also really, really important, and I will tell you in a bit why. But the first thing that you need to keep into account is that you are able to choose a customized thumbnail that you design on your own, or you are able to choose a pre-designed thumbnail that YouTube has chosen. So as you can see in this example, there's like a couple animals in the pictures. That's YouTube's pre-designed thumbnails. So basically what they do is that they're gonna take a snapshot or a picture of your video and suggest it as a thumbnail. But to be honest with you, YouTube really doesn't make a good job with this. So most of the times you're gonna want to use your own thumbnails. And there's plenty of tools out there to help you do that, such as Canva. Now, your thumbnail is also really important because, as you know, we live in a really visual world, and people like watching more than reading. So you want your thumbnails to be really relevant for the content of your video. Plus, you want them to be consistent with your brand. So going again to having your logo in there or using the same colors as your brand, that kind of thing is really important. Also, you need to keep into account that if you use any text inside the thumbnail, you want to make it really big because most people use YouTube and any other social media mainly through their phones. So if you use a really small text size, people are not going to be able to properly read what is in there. Again, try to use no more than 3 different colors and make sure that the colors are really contrasting. And that's especially important if you're using text because there's nothing more annoying than a piece of text that is the same color as the background and you cannot really see what is in there. It's really hard and it's not pleasing to the eye, so you don't want to avoid that. And try to keep a consistent thumbnail design along all of your videos. So as you can see in the slides, I chose a couple thumbnails done by Netflix for their series Our Planet. You can see that they are really, really consistent. Usually you can see that Our Planet, the text is in the top section of the thumbnail, and they also write full episode and also include their Netflix logo every single thumbnail. So that's something that you want to replicate. Plus, their pictures are really good, and that's a plus. Now, there's a lot more options that you are gonna find. I really cannot explain them all in here because of time constraints, but just make sure to read every option, especially this one that is regarding whether your video is made for kids or not. Because if it's made for kids, there is specific regulations that you need to comply with. And there's a lot more, there's a lot more surveillance from YouTube in what they accept in this category. So you want to make sure that you choose whether if it's for kids or not. Once you're done with that, you can go to the section that says more options. And from there, you are going to be able to access a lot more options. So the first one is paid promotion. You have to, this is not a choice, you have to select this option if you are showing a product in your video and somebody paid you to do so. So for example, if I'm a YouTube channel and a computer company pays me to place their products inside of my video or do a review of them, then I have to let people know that I'm doing that. That's just our YouTube requirement. Also, you can add text to your videos, and that's really important if you know that whatever your content is usually misspelled. So, for example, let's say that your video is about Canada and things that you need to do to get a Canadian visa. So, for example, that your clients, because they might not speak English, usually they don't spell Canada like it should, but they usually spell Canada like, I don't know, Canda. They just cut off the A. If you know that's a common mistake, you want to use the text section and write the misspelled version of it. That way, when somebody writes with orthographic mistakes, YouTube knows what the people really wanted to say and will redirect them to your video. And that's really important if you're using like technical language or words that people usually don't know how to properly write, because otherwise it can be hard for people to find your video. Once you're done with the details, you're going to be taken to the next section that it's called video elements. And this is really important for creating a consistent brand, because this is going to allow you to promote other videos, other channels that you may have, or even if you have, for example, an e-commerce website, it's going to allow you to connect directly from your video to your e-commerce. So you have two options in here. The first one is called an end screen, and the second one are cards. The first option is, so you know how usually you're watching a YouTube video and at the very end, you can see that YouTube suggests you other kinds of videos. So more content from the channel or content from other YouTubers. That's the end screen. And the cards are those tiny white boxes that sometimes appear at the top of the videos. So yeah, that's the cards. So the process of how you set both cards and end screens is the same. The first thing you need to do is choose the kind of a screen you want. So YouTube already has a couple pre-designed screens. You want to use them because, to be honest with you, just saves time. You don't really want to be spending a lot of time, right? So there's plenty of options. I invite you to explore all of them, try them in each video and see what adapts better to your kind of content. And once you click in one of them, you will see that at the bottom of the screen, there's gonna be a couple boxes popping up. So inside of that green box in the snapshot in there, in the screenshot, you can see that there's one that says subscribe and video. That's the two different kinds of screens that you have. So the first one, the subscribe type, it's usually going to be your logo, and it will allow people to subscribe to your video directly by clicking on that logo. And the second one, the one that says video best for viewer, it's going to take all the videos from your YouTube channel, and based on the preferences of each viewer, YouTube is going to suggest a new video for the person to watch. Now, to edit at which point in the timeline, at which point of your video these screens show up, you just need to drag and drop. So yeah, experiment with that. It's really something that you need to put your hands into in order to be able to understand fully. And once you're done with all of that, just remember always to click save. If you don't save it, you're gonna lose it. So please do that. And the same process applies for the cards. Different options for sure, because it's a different kind of tool, but the content and the way that you are gonna be able to manipulate them, it's really similar. So each of your cards is that tiny blue line that is inside of the green box here in the screenshot. And again, in order to choose where it appears in your video, you just need to drag and drop. That's how you're gonna be able to customize that. Finally, you want to go to visibility. And this is a really important tool, especially for business owners who are really busy or people that want to create a YouTube schedule. So when you're publishing a video, you have the option to make it a private video, meaning that only the people that you share a link to are going to be able to access it, but nobody else. Then you also have the option to make it public, so everyone has access to it, and you can schedule it. So what is the difference between making it public and making a scheduled video? When you make it public, it's going to be accessible as soon as you hit the save button. But if you schedule it, you're going to be able to choose what day and at what time, and even the time zone that you want your video to be uploaded to. So for example, let's say I make videos in Canada, but they're oriented towards people in England. So I can manipulate the time so they show up automatically at a time that is comfortable in England, because it's a really big difference gap. So you don't want to be awake during the night just doing that. You can do it automatically. And that's also going to help you. For example, you can record several videos whenever you have time and then schedule a video a different day. That way you're going to be able to just forget about YouTube for a while and let the system do everything on its own. So as I told you, once you're done with all of those settings, you can click in Save. And that's gonna take you to your homepage again. Now, there's a lot of things to YouTube. There's things you need to take into account for branding. There's things you need to take into account to make good quality videos. So, camera settings and all of that kind of things. And YouTube has a great academy for that. So you can go to the link in this description, and that link it's going to take you to the Creator Academy of YouTube. So this is a spot where YouTube makes a lot of classes and a lot of interactive content showing people how to do things better, how can they reach a bigger audience. They also teach you things like how to read the analytics that they give you in your videos, all of that kind of information. So I invite you to go to this link. It's really, really, really good. And give it a look. The thing with YouTube, you are going to learn most of it by doing stuff and trying and, try this. If it doesn't work, then change it. If it works, just keep replicating it. And that's really essential for this tool. So now I would like to know if you have any questions.
So if anyone would like to ask some questions, please do feel free to unmute yourself and ask, because for me to have to read them from chat, I know they get a little bit more technical. So those who want to ask a question, please feel free to unmute yourselves and ask.
I'll start since we have a quiet group. So when should you set something as a premiere in YouTube? Do you have to be online when you set it as a so say I have a video and I want to launch it Friday at 9 a.m. and I want to set it as a premiere. Do I have to be available at that point in time?
Yeah, so what you need to keep into account is that premieres are all about interacting. So when you launch a premiere, YouTube creates like a countdown screen. So it's gonna keep telling people when the video is gonna be launched. And as soon as the time gets there, as soon as the time to launch is in there, you are gonna be able to chat live with whoever is watching the video. So, you can not be online, but it doesn't really make sense because the tool is designed for you to be in there talking with people and interacting on real time.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Hello.
Hello.
First of all, thank you for having us today. I have a really fast two questions for you. First of all, what about, if you have any idea of that, What about if I already upload some videos on my YouTube channel, right? And I would
Mhm.
like to make a version with a higher resolution. Is that possible, or I have to create basically a brand new video? So I already have the better version with a higher resolution, and I want to re-upload somehow the same video, right, on the previous, let's say, position. How, I don't know how to name that. Is that possible?
Okay, so first of all, you need to consider that YouTube does not change the resolution of a video.
Okay.
It's just gonna be the one that you got as soon as you finish editing the video. So that's more of an editor issue.
Yeah.
Now, if you have two different files with different video qualities and you want the best video quality to be uploaded, you will need to upload it as a different video and then delete the other one.
Okay.
But it's not like you can just switch them.
Yeah, okay. I was thinking about something about switch, but so obviously it's not possible.
Yeah.
Okay. And the second question is, how can I use basically music, copyrighted music, as a background music somehow in my videos? Because to the best of my knowledge, you're not allowed to do that. But recently they make some changes, and I've seen often some videos that they have that ability. Although when I try that to my personal Facebook account, all videos are muted. Although I have bought music basically copyrighted, and I give the attributes and I follow all the necessary requirements, still on Facebook, all my videos are muted. So I don't know how we can do something similar in YouTube. Do you have something on that?
Yeah, so there are a lot of different websites where you can get copyright-free music, and there's also a couple subscription services where you can just pay them, and in exchange for your subscription, you are able to access a big database of music, and then they just give you the rights to that song. So, if you really want to know more about that, you can just set an appointment with us, and I can talk more about that personally with you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions?
Hey everyone, thanks again for this webinar today. I do have a question about analytics and if they're available on YouTube.
Yeah, so, wow, you have a lot of analytics in YouTube, to be honest. From, you're able to analyze what kind of words people use in order to reach your video, or things like where did they find your video. So whether they find it using YouTube, somebody sent them a link, all of that kind of things are available to you. You're also able to see the demographics of your viewers. So YouTube it splits their in gender, age, country of origin. You're able to know what kind of device they were using when they saw your video. So there's definitely a lot of analytics. You can just go to the website I talked about in the end, and there's a lot of content on how to read them. And yeah, and if you want, you can also make an appointment with us and we can talk more about that.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You're very welcome. Any other questions you might have?
Sorry, I guess I realized I unmuted myself when I'm typing. So you've all heard me typing frantically, responding to some of the stuff here. So one of the questions was, what's an email or LinkedIn profile? Camilo's direct email address at our office is resources@thesmallbusinesscenter.ca. And you can reach out to him from there. Or if you even type in info@thesmallbusinesscenter.ca, you will reach me as the manager of the office, and then I can set things up for you as well.
Okay, so yeah, if you want to contact me, make me more questions, maybe you don't feel comfortable asking things on Zoom, that's completely fine. Just send me an email to the address that Ramona just said, and I can walk you through YouTube or help you even with other social media. That's basically my job in here, help your businesses become better in social media. So yeah, reach out, just set an appointment, and thank you so much for being here.